many times when people are finding their calling or finding their path in life and what they wish their teaching to be, I work with a lot of coaches and leaders that are also teachers, what their teaching is. I believe that allowing ourselves to step into the power of our teaching is what's evolving our own life. And what I mean by that is generally we're teaching what we really wish to learn.
Absolutely.
And by letting ourselves teach it, even before we feel prepared to teach it.
Right.
I say jump in, start teaching it, and you will grow through it.
Absolutely.
You'll step into it where it will become your embodied state.
That's
but
right.
Until we're willing to teach it, even if we are not completely feeling equipped or we're not feeling in alignment yet or we're not feeling knowledgeable enough yet, whatever those terms are that we're using, step into it. And as you do it, as you begin to teach it, you will become it.
Absolutely.
And it will become the embodiment of who you are. So a lot of times when somebody comes to me and say, I'll say, what is it that you'd like to teach? And, well, I noticed that people are experiencing da-da-da-da-da-da, and this is what I think I could do to help them. The answer is yes, that's true. And then I ask, and how will that support you? How will that desire to teach that help you grow? How will you experience it yourself in a new way? So when we become embodied as teachers, that means that not only are we there wishing to share our wisdom, share our insights, share our experiences with others so that they can choose to make the shifts in their life, but through the teaching, we will deepen it within ourselves.
Right.
And by deepening it within ourselves, we walk it out into the world in a different way. So even if we've been teaching the same thing for 20 years, you are continually deepening that embodiment of that experience. So it's really important, no matter where we are on our path, to begin, if we feel called to be a teacher, or if we see ourselves stepping into the role of coaching or mentoring or building a business that is actually bringing good value to people in a new way so they can see their life in a new way or experience their life in a new way. All of this is teaching. How can we begin to embody it ourselves in a deeper level? Let ourselves grow through it.
Right. Because that's about the universe is about growth. That's the whole thing, that every time you teach a class, I know for me, every time I teach a class, there's things about it that are similar because the teaching is primarily it's the same, but there's an expanded awareness around what it means, and there's new experiences that I'll add to it. There's a new way of looking at it. You look at it.
Exactly. This is exactly it. And so we don't need to be or have to be an expert in it. As a matter of fact, we're better to not see ourselves as an expert in it. We're better to see ourselves also as a student.
Absolutely. I see myself as a student.
Like you said, I once remember I studied with a beautiful wisdom teacher who had an outline for what the course was going to be that day. And he came in and he sat down and he picked up that outline to the course and he looked at it and he said, oh, look at this. I wonder what we're going to learn here together that's new. And I knew when he said it, it landed on me that he does not have to be the expert. You know that he knows everything that's on that paper. He's there and he taught it many times. He studied it for eons. But he's still open and willing to receive a new experience of it. Mm-hmm. And that's so important for us to remember, especially those that are, well, for all of us, no matter how long we've been coaching and teaching and speaking, but especially those that are just starting out.
Right.
Because you don't have to necessarily know it all. Matter of fact, don't know it all. Let yourself grow and expand as you allow yourself to experience it.
Absolutely.
And there you will become much more knowledgeable than you could have become if you studied a book and then
absolutely
something that somebody else experienced it in.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had students in class that have taught me things, and I've gone back and researched it, and I said, well, they're right. I have to look at it in this way now. Or maybe I'll hit a topic in a class, and I'll be thinking about it after, because I always kind of do a rewind in my head and everything. Yeah.
Right.
And then I go, gee, I could have done that a little better. I'm going to go back and hit that again next week, and I do.
Yeah, and early on, I realized in my coaching practice, and I often even said it, is I'm wondering here who the student is and who the teacher is.
That's right.
Because I'm wondering, and this goes back to what we were saying earlier on the show, life is always speaking to us. People are communicating to us so that our higher self will get that answered so that we can, in our body self really understand what it is that we're trying to learn in the moment. So
Right.
I think it makes it so much more fun. It definitely makes, the work that I do much more relaxed, much more joyful when I realize, especially I coach a lot of teachers, and I'm always learning from them. And it's fun to notice, I'll bring in a wave or I'll attract into me a wave of nutritionists or health experts or people that are into fitness. And I'm like, what is, my higher self is really wanting me to know about this health, or really wanting me to know about really wanting me to understand more about movement and fitness and how valuable it is to us. And it took a little while, by the way, for that to soak in, but I'm doing it now.
Oh, good. Yeah, I attract a lot of vegetarians, a lot of vegans, and whole foodists.
Yeah, there's a lot, but I think that it's so important for us to realize that we really are interacting on that level, and to not have to be an expert, because what happens is when we think we have to be an expert, we think we have to know everything, or we're comparing ourselves to others, which I believe just
Right.
immediately destroys
Absolutely.
our self-value. When we do that, when we're caught in that pattern, it prevents us from giving our great gifts to the world. And I guarantee you that right now, your great gift is needed in the world, that what you're here to share, the love that you're here to give to others through whatever message it is that's moving through you, there is somebody right now looking for exactly what you have to offer. And more than ever before, don't you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree. I get a lot of emails and private messages saying stuff like, Reverend Amy, I never heard of this stuff before, and you're helping me, and now I'm telling my friends about it, and you're helping them. And I've had many, many, many things said to me about this. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback about that, because we need to open up this topic. It's not about being the science of mind. It's about understanding our connection to spirit as spirit. And as the science of mind, or unity, or divine science, is a means to open up. But I always say this to everybody in my class: listen, if we could get there in consciousness without any methods, then we're there. The meditation is a tool. Affirmative prayer is a tool. It's to lead your consciousness in a certain direction. And if your consciousness is there around that certain issue, then that's not something that you need to be working on, so you can work on something else if you so desire. I mean, I know I haven't walked on water yet, so there's always, all God's children got stuff. So there's always something more to work on, but there's certain things that we've got covered. Like I know with me, there's certain things I got covered. I don't have to work on that, for now. Maybe it'll come around again. But I do think we were talking about this teacher thing, and I did want to get back and say one thing about this, and this isn't being snobby. I'm just being real here. I have taken classes with other teachers within the last 4 years. I took a Course in Miracles class somewhere. I took one, that was it, because it was not a good, I couldn't hold my attention. And then I took an 8-week class, and I got to tell you, there were so many times I wanted to get up and start teaching the class, because I truly believe that what the teacher was saying was quite off in a lot of instances. And it took everything I had to be quiet. Everything I had.
But you know what? I think some of those kinds of situations, again, I go back to the question, what's the quality of the question that I'm asking? So the question would be for me is, what am I being shown through this experience? What am I being shown? Well, maybe you're being shown that you're ready to teach.
Well, I wasn't teaching at the time. That's right.
What I mean.
Yeah, I wasn't teaching at the time, and it was like I was dying to get up there, and say, "Well, listen, I have something I want to say." And I did it a little bit, but I didn't want to take away from the teacher because I had respect for the teacher.
Maybe create your own course or create your own.
Right. Well, I have.